Welcome back to This Is How We Create. My name is Martine Severin, your host. Today on This Is How We Create, I'm sitting down with Sierra Glasgow, the visionary behind Unique Interiors, who's redefining what it means to create boldly authentic spaces. Sierra, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, Sierra, I'd love to start with your earliest memories, Sierra. Your earliest memories of being fascinated by how people create their spaces. Can you take us back to your childhood? What was it? What first caught your attention about how people live and how they express themselves in their homes?
So, when I was a child, first, I was introduced to art. I love looking at people's faces. I love drawing faces. And my dad, he always try to help me get better at drawing. So he asked me to draw different things. He asked me to draw something that's like a chair in the house. And my parents put me in art classes when I was in high school. I was taking art classes and I was in art club. And I was just very fascinated with like using colors and painting. And as I grew up and I was in college, I noticed that I was drawn more to interior design, like using my art to create something in a home.
So, Sierra, you followed an unexpected educational path. You transitioned from building construction technology. Can you tell me a little bit about what led you to study something so technical when your heart was drawn to design?
So originally, I wanted to become an interior designer, and actually, I started out at J. Sargent Reynolds, that's in Richmond, and I was taking architectural courses. Wanted to be an architect slash interior designer, and then I moved to from Richmond to Newport News, and I started working at Newport News Shipbuilding, and I started taking building construction technology at Norfolk State, mainly because I guess in this area I wasn't able to find a school that I can, go to and be able to pay for architecture or interior design. So I found the next best thing at Norfolk State, building construction technology. And I learned architecture, interior design while I was at Norfolk State. So basically building construction entails all of that.
This episode is brought to you by iCode. Every child starts as a creator. They imagine stories, build worlds, and ask big questions. But as they grow up, creativity can take a backseat to routine and screens. That's where iCode comes in. Through after-school STEM activities, iCode's programs give kids a space to create again. Visit icodeschool.com to book a free trial. All right. Can you paint me the picture in terms of, or tell me the story of how you came to find your first client?
I found my first client on social media. I started a Facebook page, an Instagram page, and I posted up my work and said I'm a new interior designer in the area. And then, I had like people reaching out, asking what kind of interior design I do. I actually started working for this company called Haverly first, and I started getting exposed that way before I went to social media. And then I also worked for a company named Deparilla.
So through that, you were able to create your portfolio.
Yes, I was able to create my portfolio that way first.
So as you were working with them, because I know sometimes when you're working with other companies, the aesthetic that you have to bring has to match closely to whoever the lead designer's aesthetic is. How did you tell me about how you walk that line?
Let's say through Havenly, they let me design how I wanted to design. It wasn't really like set in stone exactly like their style. And I noticed that people started gravitating to my style because a lot of clients were saying like, oh, I noticed a lot of the other designers, they use a lot of neutral colors. They stick with one theme or one style, but with me, it's very unique and different. So they didn't like tell me exactly how to style. I style based off of how I like to style. And Decorilla is the same way.
How did you get to that space of styling the way that you style? Why were you drawn to the colors that you were drawn to, the fabrics you were drawn to? Tell me about like why was your style so different and how did you up to the point of working for these two companies?
So it was more natural. Like I said before, my style started off with art and it started in Richmond. So Richmond to me, it showed a lot of black culture and black food, black culture, black clothes, everything. Like I was exposed to that lifestyle when I was young. And a lot of that style and city life is incorporated into my interior design because I just like, I don't know, I always like colors, the way how colors blend, the way how patterns work with colors. And Richmond, I seen a lot of African art, a lot of African fabrics. And, I just was really drawn to the way how the patterns were. And I just thought maybe it would really look good in interior design, like mixing African art or African style into a modern style, like mixing them together.
So, Sierra, you just talked about growing up in Richmond and how it's so rich in Black culture through the foods we eat, through the bright colors that you would see. And now you are known for having a really wonderful, fun approach to modern design, but that is where you bring in a lot of elements that are attributed to Africa or to Black centered design. And I'm wondering, like, how did you just come to do it so effortlessly? What was it about growing up in Richmond? What colors speak to you? And how do you mix patterns and colors so easily and so effortlessly?
I always gravitated to bolder, brighter colors. I don't know why. It's just something that, I gravitated to. But I do like the neutral colors as well. But I feel like a space should show color. And when I was looking at the way how African prints are, I noticed that they use a lot of bold colors. And that speaks to me, even with African art. And I just wanted to create a new look because I've seen so much of American look and I wanted to create a new black look. I wanted it to show black faces or black style into interior design. Um, I wanted people to know that black culture mattered. Even if here in America, our culture is completely different from African culture, but that's our ancestors. And I wanted to incorporate that look into it with a modern aesthetic. I really love the style of curvature furniture, of curvature decor. And I love plants, especially my favorite plant is the birds of paradise. So I don't know, a lot of people see me put that plant in every design, but it's for some reason, it speaks to me like it's beautiful. I love geometry. I love abstract. And I feel like every space should reflect that. Some type of curvature, geometry, abstract, plants. It's just how my mind is wired. It's not really coming from anywhere in my childhood. It's something that I developed over time. It's just artwork to me. Like designing a space is like painting a picture.
That's so interesting that you say that because each time we have an interior designer who comes on, I ask them, how do they see our room? So there was one designer who came on and she mentioned that when she goes into a room, she can see what it would look like. And I said, oh, okay, well then, tell me a little bit more. And she says that it plays in her mind like a movie. Like she walks in and she could see it like a movie. What is it like for you? How do you see a room or how do you see a space when you walk into it?
When I'm walking into a space or my clients and I see all of her stuff and I could just see like where I would put that. Like it's like a million things running in my mind at once. And I'm like, you know what? I can put that here, that here. This room has so much potential. And the client, she's talking about what she wants, but the whole time it's just like I'm zoned out and thinking about where stuff can go. And like I said, I'm painting a picture of how the room can look. Even if that's not the client style, It's zone out. It's as soon as I'm meeting a client, like, oh, this room has so much potential. Let's paint the ceiling. Let's paint the walls. Let's wallpaper. And they're like, oh, that's too much. It's too bold. You know.
Too bold. They hired you. They want
Right.
you.
Right.
Didn't they see your work?
Yeah, and it's funny because a lot of the clients are like, "Oh, I really love your work, but I don't want you to do too much." And I'm like, "You hiring a risk taker, like someone that just don't stick to the norm, you know?" Like, I feel like homes should reflect what everybody else is doing. It should reflect your style and your uniqueness, your family, your culture.
Mm. So did you always have like your own point of view? Because interior design has had its phase, and I think it's still going on, of like just the beige box where everything is like beige. And I'm like, my eye starts to twitch because of the beige box. And you obviously were not going for that. So, can you tell me about how you felt when you did book that first client? What were some of the feelings that were going through your body?
I was very nervous because I was still learning the whole process of interior design. I was still learning the pricing structure, everything. And one of my first client was in Virginia Beach. She had a high-rise apartment and she was expressing to me like, I really need you to help me with my home. And I'm so excited because it's my first client and then it's a high-rise apartment. But I was very nervous and I wasn't too sure how much I should charge for the space. And when I did tell her the price, she was like, "That's way too much." And I'm like, "What? Maybe I need to reevaluate my pricing or maybe ask some other designers how they're doing it." And then I found out actually I was lowballing myself. She just wanted like $100 design, which is crazy. And I'm like, for the vision that I have for your space, you should be comfortable with my price, you know. So yeah, I was nervous and then I was a little disappointed as well. But I definitely learned a better pricing structure, a better way of consulting the client over time.
What has been the most surprising thing for you about becoming an interior designer? What are some things that you learned that were completely unexpected?
I learned that you have to be versatile because even though I was sticking with the maximum minimalist African style, I learned that I can help people, feel comfortable in their homes, not just Black people, like everybody. And I started working with all cultures of people. So I learned over time that being versatile in this business is going to get you moving forward. I started working with I was exposed to a lot of people all over the country, working with Havenly and working with Decorilla. And I noticed that I really enjoy creating different type of styles, but still implementing my type of style in it, but creating different styles.
Well, Sierra, can you tell me a little bit about how you collaborate with clients? How do you guide people through their fear of bold choices?
A lot of times, the client, I will show them inspiration, photos, of things that either I done or other designers have done to show them that what a space can be like. And, a lot of times they're like, oh, that's a little too much. And I just encourage them, or try to help them see different ways of how a design can be done.
So, I would love to talk to you about cultural authenticity. We see that there are a lot of people who incorporate African heritage in their designs. Can you tell me about how you've come to do that in a way that's really respectful, and any advice that you might have for people who want to do that, to do the same in a respectful way?
I don't try to overdo it. I think a lot of African designs is like a lot of different fabrics everywhere, a lot of African art decor everywhere. And I try not to overdo it. I try to space it out, like maybe put it in pillows, or put it in like a chair, like a centerpiece chair, or just incorporate it in the art. I try not to overdo it. Even though, my style is minimalist, maximalist, I feel like if you overdo it, then you wouldn't see the other aspects of the space, like the curvature or the geometry, the abstract. So I try not to like put too many patterns in the space. I try to space it out.
Okay, so as we wrap up, I think I have one more question for you. Well, actually, I have two questions for you. One of them is about the boundaries that you've had to make as you've gone into building your business and working with clients, just so that you maintain your sanity and that you are able to have a thriving business. And I'll give you an example. I was just talking with a photographer who talked about something you referred to, which is when people have champagne tastes on beer budgets. And so she talked about how she's put a boundary in place in terms of how the rates and the work that she'll take on and the work that she's not going to take on, and how she prefers to take work that will compensate her for the value that she brings to the table. And so I'm just thinking about you and your work. Are there some boundaries that you've had to put in place to as you've gone about building your business?
Yes, a lot of boundaries. So in the design phase, I had to put boundaries because a lot of my clients they will like it, but then they will request several revisions. And so I had to put a boundary on it, like 2 revisions for a concept or 1 revision for the rendering. And so the rendering is just like what I create on my own. It's a 3D rendering of the space before I implement it. And I have to let clients know, like, if you want more revisions, you're gonna have to pay for that. You know. And another boundary is, like you said, the pricing structure. If they want certain things done, you're gonna have to pay for this. Like I learned to not do anything for free anymore because I was overworking myself, trying to make people happy. And I should be compensated for everything that I do, especially the amount of years I put into my business or learning how to style the way I do. So yes, I had to create a lot of boundaries. Let's see, another boundary is not allowing the client to purchase things on their own, and then completely ruining the design. Not ruining design, but it's like you're not trusting me to do the design for you, and helping you create a space based off of the things that you have or that we're going to work with. You're going out buying other stuff. So yeah, I had to put that in check. Like, do not purchase anything outside of what we're working with. Yeah.
That makes so much sense. I feel the same way about being compensated for everything that I do. So, the last question that I have for you is advice that you may have for creatives in terms of finding their authentic voice, particularly creatives who are coming up in interior design and who don't know what their true special sauce is. So they dip their toes in a lot of different types of design. Is there any advice that you would have for creatives who are just coming in and trying to figure out what their special sauce is?
I would say to do your research. It's good to research other businesses to see, who you're competing with, see what they're doing and how you can do something better than them. What can make you stand apart from them. Look at Pinterest or look at magazines or look at different things on TV, like HGTV or something. And just see what speaks to you, for your style. Travel, look at different things in culture, visit fabric stores. When you do these things, you start to learn what you like, and create mood boards for yourself. Like sometimes it's good to just play around with different colors and patterns and stuff and just create mood boards and see like how you can see how you create. And that will help you in your journey of like determining what you like and how you can go about interior design, how you can go about being creative your own way.
That's wonderful, Sierra. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I really enjoyed talking with you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hi there. If you're loving the show, would you mind taking a quick second to leave us a 5-star review on your favorite go-to podcast app? While you're at it, subscribe to our Substack newsletter, Creative Matters. You can find the link to subscribe in the show notes. All right, that's all that I have for you today. Bye.